Okay, so the next thing we're going to cover is court dockets. First off, what is a docket? This is a chronological list of every single thing that's happened in a case once it's filed in court. So as a piece of paper comes in on that case, as there's a hearing, the clerk of court, who's the person who handles all papers and all the records for the court, they'll make a note saying on this date this came in, on this date this happened, and then be just a real short note, maybe 20 words or less, usually not complete sentences, but it kind of gives you a map to the case. So next, how do you use the docket? Well, you use that like a map. So anytime an important event happens in that case, or even an event that's not important, so maybe just a per se person writes a letter, but it doesn't really say anything other than I'm upset about this, I'm emotional, they'll still get listed. So you know every piece of paper that's coming in that case, as soon as it comes in, it'll get listed on the docket. The way you use that is to, first off, just check the status of a case, see, okay, this person walked in my door, they've already been sued. How many days do they have before they've got to file an answer to that suit? If it's tomorrow, that's not so good. If it's 2 weeks out, then that may be pretty good. If they have a hearing coming up and that hearing's tomorrow, maybe that's not so good. If it's in a couple days, maybe that's fine. You use it to look for that. Use it to, when you have a case and you've accepted that, check for incoming filings on that. If someone writes a letter into the court, you may want to get a copy of that just to make sure they don't raise any issues. If someone files paper and you have 15 days, 21 days to respond, you want to know when that paper came in and when your response is due. When an opinion is issued in that or an order is issued, you want to know when that happened, as soon as it happens, so you know the time to file an appeal and what your time is to do the next thing. This is something that you'll use every day, just about, if you're practicing certain types of law. So if you're doing something where you're going into court and not just setting up contracts or doing compliance work, it's something that you never see in law school because hypotheticals, they're hypothetical, so you don't go and scrutinize someone's business that actually happened in court. But at the same time, it's very important to know how to navigate these when you're out practicing, because you will be doing people's business. These are some example dockets for regional courts. There's Bexar County Clerk of Courts website. It doesn't have a lot of information on it, even though Bexar County is pretty big. Guadalupe County Clerk of Courts website. It has no information, and in fact, from looking at the court's website, you can see Guadalupe County has one judge. So to check the docket there, you're going to actually have to phone call the clerk of court, and they may scan it and send it over to you, or they may just read it to you over the phone. The Harris County Clerk of Court's website is there too. And then Medina County Clerk of Court is what we'll look at because they had a pretty detailed docket. This is the Medina County Clerk of Court's website, and we'll run a simple search in the docket here to just see what a docket for a case looks like. We'll look for all cases with John Smith. It's a pretty common name. And you can see a lot of John Smiths in Medina County, a lot of suits in Medina County. We'll look at this one against Atlas American. And when I click that, I can see, okay, as of 2004, when this was filed, here are the addresses of everyone involved in this case. And then I can see a chronological listing, or reverse chronological, of everything in the case. So it was filed in December 2004. I can see all these details about it. So in April 2005, a hearing was scheduled, and that hearing was scheduled for the 28th of April. If there's an upcoming hearing in the case and there's an online docket, you should be able to see it there. If not, you can call the clerk of court and they can check the docket to see if there's a hearing. And basically you'll see about this level of detail if the court system has an online docket, and if they don't, then they should be able to to send you or read out loud to you something similar to this. So court dockets, all of them are different. When you know you're going to be practicing in an area, just kind of get familiar with the Clerk of Court's website for the counties you might be working with. And then before you do anything in a case, always check the docket just to make sure nothing strange happens since last time you looked at it. When a client walks in the door, check the docket. They may not think there's a case. They may tell you there's not. There may actually be one. They are very unlikely to know the status of the case, and especially as a beginning attorney, one of the very few things that is really useful is that you'll know in a case what's significant. So that the original complaint, the answer, those are significant, and that maybe an order from the judge that says scheduling a hearing, it's not going to say anything in it that matters other than the date of the hearing, or is very unlikely to. You'll know what a hearing is. A regular person won't always know that. They may think I went into the court, I talked to the clerk, I went to a hearing. So when a client walks in the door, you check the docket, and automatically, just by knowing how a court case progresses, you'll know more about the case probably, or at least procedurally where it is, than most regular people.